Hello everyone, this is Mohammed from Python Ninja YouTube channel, and today we continue our journey toward practicing list in Python. So in the last tutorial we introduced how can we create a numerical list or how can we copy a list, and we introduced multiple approaches to copy a list and to assure that the copied list will not be affected by any operation when we modify the original list. And also we introduced the reminder method to be applied for a list. And today we will speak about the connection between list and string. Okay, so there is a connection between string and list. When we introduce together the fruits list, we assign inside this list some fruits, okay, like for example apple or tree. The first connection is that inside a list, okay, we can insert string item. This is number one. Number two, we can convert a string, for example, a string variable into a list. Let us see how can we do that. For example, I will not say fruits, I will put my name here, okay, and I can convert each letter in my name or any string variable into an item of the list. For example, if I introduce name list as a variable, this can be done when I use this list and I submit the variable inside the list. Okay, and let us print this, and we will see here the original string variable has been transferred or converted into a list variables, and each letter represent an item inside a list. Okay, this is the second connection, which lies in that we can convert any string variable into a list of items. Okay. Also, if you remember when we created this list, I think where we wanted to create 10 zeros, we use this syntax, okay? And let's print this again, and it will print like 10 zeros. I can follow the same to print, for example, any string. For example, I can print name, okay? It will be printed and according to this multiplier, okay. And for example, I can print even a letter, okay. So, and I can augment this value for whatever, okay. So we can also create a list with a letter or with any string representation, okay, using the multiplier or the product operator. Okay. Now the question is, how can we reconstruct these list items to be a useful string representation? For example, I want to have this list, okay. I want to have this list to be like this, okay. It should be like a string variable and it will contain all values, okay, all items which is part of this string variable. There are two methods that we can follow to this, either to use for loop or to use a method from that comes within the the list class in Python. And let's discover the first one. Okay, the first one I have to introduce a joint, okay, list. This is a variable that will hold the items and it will be a string variable, and I want the final shape to be like this. Okay, so this is what I want to do. I can loop through the the list items here. Okay, for example, I can do for letter M, list. Okay, what I want to do, I want to increase the value. Here, the value of this variable is empty. But if I loop in this list and I use augmented assignment operator, okay, for this list, but this will augment the value of this variable by each letter of this list. Okay, so I want to augment the value by L. Okay, so here we move, we loop, okay, in this list, and I increase the value of this variable based on each item of this list. Okay, and we can print the joint list now. Okay, let us to print this joint list, and we can see we joined all, okay, items in the list. That will be clear or more clearer if I introduce it in a different way. Let us to say name equal my name. Okay, this is Muhammad, and I want to print my name here, and I want to convert first my name to name name list. Okay, and this name list will be a list, okay, of my name. Okay, now I want to loop for each letter, but this inside my name list. Okay, and I want to print this now. Okay, so the first name is here, which is the original one. Then I have to print it now under this variable, and when I convert it into a list, I want also to show you how the representations will look like. Okay, so this is the original name or the original string variable. Okay, then I converted it into a list using this syntax of this line, and it will become like this here. Then I join this these letters using this for loop. Okay, but also we can do, for example, let us print just a separator like a set of stars. Like I want to print 10 stars here after the conversion. I want to see now another method. I can say that, for example, joint list, but new, for example, it will be in this syntax. Look at this syntax. We open an empty string variable. Okay, after opening this string variable, we add dot. Okay, and we use join method. Okay, again we use a string variable, an empty string variable, then we add dot, then we use joint method, and I submit in this joint method the list of letters. By this way, we join both together. Okay, let us print the join. We can notice that this list variable items has been converted into this, and using this string or empty string variable is able to convert me to the original. But if I use a space here, it will convert with the spaces. Okay, if I use a hyphen, it will add hyphen between the name. Okay, so please consider when you will work in the future in NLP applications, you will use the list string connections too much. Okay, so you have to know how can you convert the string or the string representation into a list, and how can you join or convert them back from the list to the original representations. As we can see, this line or join method is much more dynamic, and this it is also much more faster. How can I say this is faster? How can I judge that? Let us to first introduce timeit module. Timeit module, similar to time module in Python, both provide more functionality when we work with time, when we want to calculate time or when do some pause or sleep to our code. Now we use and we learned from math module that we can import any built-in module or design module using many different syntax or many different way. Okay, so the first thing I want to import a timer to show you how much time we need to reconstruct a list. Okay, so first of all we have to import this timer. So I use from timeit, okay, import default timer. So keep in mind this syntax when you want to use a timer in your code. We have timeit module, and inside the timeit module we have a function or a class is called default timer. Okay, and we want to not use default timer every time. I want to import it as timer. Okay, now we have a timer. We want to remember this syntax. We have start. Okay, we use timer like this, and we have end. Okay, and we want to use the timer again. This is the timer, the syntax, okay, or the footprint when we want to employ a timer inside our code. We need to start the starting point. Then by this line, the timer will start, and once the timer line is started, it go to calculate or to do whatever in the code. Then we call it again, and once we call it again, then the timer will be off and it will calculate the time difference between both. Okay, so the first thing what let us to do, like we have list, and list it will create letter list, and I want to create it for example 100,000 times. Okay, let us to consider this. This is only assumption. Okay, now I want to see how long the time reconstruction or the string reconstruction. We have like join list as a variable. Let us to say this, and this will be an empty variable as what we introduced before. Now for I use usually I for integer, but I use L for letters. For L in list, okay, what we want to do, we want to increase the value of the join list, and we want to increase it by L. Okay, that's it. That's the code. Here we use for loop, and I want to compute the time. Okay, to complete this for loop. Okay, and finally I want to print. Okay, print. Okay, just we want usually print the difference between start. I don't need to use end. I want to use stop. Okay, this is more meaningful. I want to do like stop minus start. When we take the difference between stop and start, it will give us the time interval. Okay, the same thing here. I want to add now another timer. Okay, we have start. Okay, and we have timer, and I want to calculate. Okay, the join list again. Okay, join list will be will be open string dot join, and I want to join this list. Okay, I want to join this list, and I want to use stop again. Okay, stop will equal also we record this time. Okay, object, and we print now also stop. Okay, minus start. Sorry, start. Okay, and let us execute this. As you can see here, we have by joining this will take much less time than this, and that will be clear if I want to, for example, create instead of 100,000, for example, M. Um, in the real application, you may not use this line, okay? But for some applications, like this for natural language processing or similar applications, sometimes you seek or you search for faster method to be used in your code, and this faster method is suitable even when you have like limited computational resources. You don't have enough GPUs, you don't have enough memories. So keep in mind that join method is one of the most important methods in the list, and it gives you like a good connection between list and string. And that's for today's tutorial, guys. Only reminder: one tutorial we have to close list, and this next tutorial, we will introduce list comprehension in Python, and later we will have another exercise to like overview list. Okay, thank you, and please share this video among students and anyone want to practice Python.